if you do a crime already, is that like crime squared?
Bad
That's
court?
like an actual crime, though, isn't that? Like in the real world, that's considered a real crime.
So, do you have to get a double judge to judge that?
I,
Like
I
a
don't
judge
know.
squared?
I'm just picturing a judge on top of another judge's shoulders, just like by like Voltron style or something.
All right.
Maybe
I
they're twin
mean,
judges that speak in like creepy unison.
all right. I really like that one because everybody knows that twins are creepy and
Yep.
they always share a soul.
We have come to a consensus about your legal problems in Fallout 76.
Yep. Yep. So,
What
let's
crime do you have to commit in Fallout 76 to find yourself on trial? Like, is this like some like art role playing server bullshit thing, like those cannibals?
well, it part is and it part isn't apparently.
Okay.
So, I think does Fallout 76 not have? Well, I guess the players are going to have to make up for that. And I guess they are. I mean, which I think is kind of cool. I mean, all right, so, full disclosure, I'm a dude that has LARP. I mean, and played, and, when we both have talked about, we both definitely we do role-playing games. So, I mean,
I don't
we're
know
not...
what you're talking about, but continue. I only care about the sports ball and energy drinks.
Yes, yes. And the sports water, the hardcore death water. But anyways,
I will not hear you besmirch the name of liquid death, but continue.
so essentially there was a group of actual bandits, basically wreaking havoc as you would, basically acting like most normal players act when you put them in an open world setting. But I think they actually were acting as a group, like a proper group, like a raid. But there's also a group that's called the Fallout 5 that are basically self-appointed police, 5 first responder type. And so what they've done is they've decided to set up a court. So what they did was they had a huge, massive fight, apparently, with between the two groups, and they managed to take the leader of the group, Warlord, as a prisoner. And instead of just executing him, they've decided to actually...
Like...
Yeah, it's... it's like, sorry, having too much fun. Fun police have come in.
Yeah,
But, and... I just... And they're gonna make this episodic, so basically they've created...
Okay, that makes it less cool. Like, that fully implies, like, this is some scripted bullshit thing. Like, not bullshit thing. This is some real RPing, like some conversations were had ahead of schedule. Like, it's like the Grand Theft Auto role players, where it's like people doing mundane jobs that are also maybe serial killers or...
Well, I mean,
like
they probably just don't have enough time because they have other things that they have, jobs and stuff. And so they can only spend maybe an hour of time role-playing this through, and the court case is probably going to be multi-part. Because they're going to bring... They have, like... they're going to have wasteland lawyers, which... and like... All the different parts, like judges...
This is rapidly getting less cool in my book by the word.
Well, it's a role-playing server and all, but you know what? There have to be some griefers, and that's what I'm kind of hoping for. That it doesn't just become, Fallout Law and Order Fallout.
So, like, what happens when this beautiful, like, thing they've come up with is disrupted by a bunch of people that are like, man, fuck this is going too far, and just shoot up and burn down the courthouse? Fair.
I mean, that's what I'm saying.
As long as the end goal is expected.
There have to be griefers on that server because it's the internet and it's an internet game, and so like, how do you not plan for that?
Sure.
So, and there's no way they could possibly prevent, just people running in with Molotov cocktails and just saying, "Yep, literally burn it all down
to the ground."
Yep. And so once we're done with that, we have to face the double twin judge. You just gave somebody an idea. Hello and welcome to the Wicked Awesome Cast number... I don't actually remember.
Let me check for you. 173.
173. See, I was about to say 172. So
That was
good
last
thing you. Yeah, that was last week. So our super extra value one that we had last week. This week is going to be. Yeah, that one was long, but there's a lot to talk about.
I'm really sorry about how bad my voice sounded by the end, and then also to anyone I talked to for the 3 days after that podcast got recorded.
Yeah. But anyways, so I am here. I am Kraken Zero, aka Nomad Har, aka Henry, and the master of the Wicked Awesome cast, Charlie, aka more.
You keep giving me weird titles. I think it's myself as more like the mechanic on the Titanic who's like, well, gotta keep this thing going. Hope we hit an iceberg.
Yes. We are missing an Alex today.
So let's just jump right into those, because we got some fantastic theories about where Alex actually is this week.
Okay.
That, like, per his request, we have gotten some where he is at, and they're great. Let's run down the list.
All right, let's get into it.
All right, I'll just run down the list. First one we got was Alex is obviously in the Shadow Realm, but his version of the Shadow Realm is being forced to watch Yu-Gi-Oh! So he finally actually knows what the hell the Shadow Realm is. It came in from Adam.
Yu-Gi-Oh!
The second one came in from Samantha. Alex's downstairs neighbor finally snapped and is currently holding him hostage. Also a very real possibility. Downstairs neighbor. This one came in from Anonymous. Alex has gone full Portland and is not on this podcast, ironically.
It's not cool anymore enough.
Yeah.
It's not hip enough. He's grown an additional beard on top of his beard.
Yeah, it's a beard squared. It's the comb-over beard. This one came in from Anonymous. He is currently playing a secret closed alpha of The Matrix Online 2.
Hey, he may be coming back with some big news next week.
And last but not least, another one from Anonymous. Alex isn't actually not on the podcast. He's just biding his time until he can jump in just to fuck with the listeners. We will report back next week with Alex's pick for which of the best options he was off doing. I really hope it's the animals got him.
Thank you so much for sending all those.
These were fantastic to read.
Oh, yeah. That's... Oh, great.
We have good listeners.
Yeah, we do.
We really do. Yeah, they understand Alex's apartment is a hellscape. Not physically, it's full of animals that want to kill people. Also, I was not.
It's basically Little Australia.
Yeah. Have you heard about the number of animals that can kill a person in Alex's apartment?
At this point, I'm not sure.
Okay, flesh-eating lizards, a large snake, 3 or 4 venomous tarantulas and/or spiders, I think a couple other creepy crawlies, at least 2 different types of scorpions. The snake cage was the coffee table, if I remember correctly. That's
so cool. That's very also James Bond villain. So that's what comes to my mind.
Yeah.
Because I'm a weird dude.
No, Mr. Bond, I expect you to get fed to my coffee table snake. Yeah, that tracks. That definitely tracks.
And so what is
that in Shinjuku? I think are the traditional
Shinjuku and Shibuya.
Okay, yeah. Yep.
And they're all right beside each other. They're all adjacent to each other in Tokyo.
Yeah.
They're all in sort of West Tokyo. And so Harajuku is known as sort of an alternative fashion area. So you'll see people there dressed wildly and sort of.
Is that where the cosplay happens, or where the goths happen?
Well, all right. So that's kind of an interesting story, and I'll go into that real quick. So up through the 2000s, it was very much the goth district, like heavily super goth and punk district, like metal, and it slowly kind of morphed into pink and pastels, but still kind of similar looking fashions. But now everything's in pink and pastel and stuff. There's still some of the old sort of guard of gothy places, but
like the Lolita shit, or
it's hard to describe.
I'm looking it up now.
Like literally, if you just look up Harajuku at this point,
oh, it's like someone like still kept the goth aesthetic but vomited color all over it. Like that's
so it's still sort of the it's still the alternative fashion area, but it's like Yeah, it's like somebody just like replaced.
Rainbow Bright?
Yeah, it's like somebody just replaced all the colors with Dayglow. Like, they just went into Photoshop and just, did replace colors and just went, all right, I want this palette now. So you'll still find some of the old guard gothy type people in there too. So I mean, if you look in, you'll see a few of them peeking out here and there, and among the pictures, I see a couple. I'm
lot
also
of
looking at
pink, lot of neon pink.
You'll see some people dressed in the all black. I mean, I still see some here, definitely.
Yeah.
But it is more taken over by like crazy colors, but it's still the alternative fashion area, which I'm down with that still. I mean, I think that's cool. But in any case, that's where this show takes place. And the show premise, all right, so the way it starts out, it kind of has a magical girl premise to it. So basically, but it actually ends up with a really cool allegory, on art and commercialism, and when you keep going through it. And so that was kind of the surprising cool thing. I was kind of expecting it just to be sort of a light, to be an artist in general and to create art for the masses and creating art for yourself, and so I found that actually to be really cool. It's actually you can find this on Crunchyroll, so I mean you can watch it for free, so it's easy to find. It's right there if Crunchyroll is available in your country. But yeah, Urahara, it's a great little show. Yeah, it was really surprising how good it was. The animation's really cool. And another thing that they do is at the end of each episode, you'll see they'll show a piece of artwork of the main characters done by a local artist in Harajuku, highlighting the art movement going on in Harajuku, and I think that's also very cool. But yeah, very cool, very very fun to watch, and with kind of a really interesting message, and it made me think. Actually, it made me have to actually think about things and consider some things, and I think it's really cool. But yeah, definitely I think well worth watching. It's only 12 episodes, so it's not that long, even if you marathon it.
Exxxtreme!
With like 4 X's. Live music like on demand for roughly an hour and 20 minutes, because that's how long this particular run takes. It's a 100% all keys run. I think it was an all keys run. I don't remember, but it was a 100% run. I know that for sure. And so it takes about an hour and 20 minutes. So that's playing the piano for an hour 20 minutes straight, but constantly switching between different tunes. And so that was super cool, and the pianists did a bang up job. Like they were pretty awesome, and yeah, they did a fantastic job playing the piano. Tokyo
Dude,
Twilight.
I gotta interrupt for a sec. All of your games have ridiculously long titles to them. Like,
yeah. But in any case, all right. So this one is Tokyo Twilight Ghost Hunters Daybreak Special Gigs. And it is super anime. It is super, super mega ultra anime. Like, you even play sort of a prologue, and then it has like an anime, as I've mentioned many times before. That's my thing. Holy crap, that's my thing. And also, I like dating sims, so again, this is a...
I was gonna say, like, no, you're also into your weird pervert games, too, hypothetically. Like, how did we get here to this not being just your thing?
And so it has this... The battles are all tactical RPG. Alright, so... And now, let me tell you a little bit about what the story is. The story is basically... It's, well, as you know, it's about ghosts, so you're basically Ghostbusters, essentially. Except you can hit them with stuff. So you beat them like you would just beat anything with like sticks and stuff and weaponry and such. But in any case, but they're special weaponry that can hit ghosts. So yeah, you're basically the Ghostbusters, and you're basically a high school student that gets roped into this, because of course that's what happens.
What was the name of this game again?
Tokyo Twilight Ghost Hunters Daybreak Special Gigs.
Is this part of a series?
I don't know.
I'm pretty sure I know something that's similar to this. I didn't have the dating aspect when I played it.
But essentially, there's so the tactical RPG part happens interestingly, so this makes it a little bit different. It makes it more similar to Frozen Synapse, if you're familiar with that game.
Okay.
So what happens is, in a lot of tactical RPGs, it's like you take a turn and then the enemy takes a turn. And it's like, it's kind of considered, you do all of your actions in your turn, and then they do all their actions during their turn. This one, however, is like Frozen Synapse in that you both take your actions at the same time.
Yeah, it's got kind of like a real-time turn-based system to it.
Yeah, and so you'll see a somewhat prediction. So you'll see sort of clues on where the enemy may go, and there's more than one direction where they might go. And so you have to set up your characters, and there's action points in here, like most tactical RPGs, and so you have to set up your characters to where not only to move in a certain way, but to expect to attack in a certain direction as well. And so that when an enemy moves into those squares for your attack, you'll automatically attack. And so, and there's different, some of them are area effects, some of them are just one, like melee, where it's just sort of three squares, three squares in front of you, the one directly in front of you will do more damage. But yeah, you have to predict the patterns of the enemies, predict where they're going to go, and move accordingly. So you don't fire off, you don't move and then fire off your moves. You have to move and then expect where they're going to go. And so that makes it actually pretty cool. I like that. Like, I really like Frozen Synapse. That is a game I enjoyed a lot. I enjoyed playing a lot. I even played it. I don't know if you knew this, but also Frozen Synapse can be played multiplayer.
Yes, I'm actually more familiar with Frozen Synapse than most.
Realism, whatever, but it is more realistic in a certain sense. It's cool animation to zoom into where the action's about to take place. Like if a monster or you are attacking, or when the ghosts are attacking, or if you're attacking, so it zooms in on that, like zooms into this grid map, and then you see this kind of pop-up thing. It's hard to describe unless you see it, but it goes into it and pulls it up into 3D. And so now you see things in 3D all of a sudden whenever it goes to the action. So that's kind of a cool thing. So so definitely the mechanics are cool. I like the way it's laid out, and I'm barely into it though. So I'll have more to say about it next week. I'm gonna say, but so far it's super fun. I like mechanics. I haven't gotten that far into it to know how devs ran out of ideas. Instead of making a clever boss with clever tactics, let's just make it, if you make any mistakes, you die. But make it so long that it's just like, you're likely to make mistakes. And that's all really the purpose of a bullet sponge boss is, to wear down your actual endurance until to the point to where you start making mistakes, just because now it's dragging on into an hour.
Yeah, as someone who plays a lot of Destiny, that game also has bullet sponges, but not in the same way, I guess. Like, at least typically raid bosses have some type of mechanic based around them, or it's like you have a concept of a damage phase versus a not damage phase. It's typically more of a puzzle aspect to it. I have yet to encounter any type of boss in Borderlands 3 that wasn't just keep shooting it. Like, there's no invulnerability phases. There's no like mechanic you have to run beforehand. Like, it's weird criticizing this because I play lots of Destiny where a lot of the strike bosses are like that, but also a lot of the strike bosses have at least like differing mechanics. Like, this thing literally has like 5 attacks it runs through. Every third of its life bar it adds a new kind of variant on that, and at the same time you can defeat it just by shooting it long enough, kind of thing. Like, maybe it's better with 4 players, but I know I was soloing it, and I'm like, this is not fun at all. Like, it's like,
if you're playing 4 players, they level up all the bosses anyway. So
yeah, I don't know.
Player, so.
Maybe it's faster at that point. Yeah, maybe my gear wasn't correct for it. Who the fuck knows? But I know I beat that, did the stuff after it, and then basically just like, I don't want to play more of this game that much longer. And like the sucky thing about it, I think, was right before or right after. I can't actually remember which one. You fight what I so far at least have thought has been the best boss of the game, because she had like, again, like, it was still just shooting her, but she had like various like modes, I guess is the way of thinking of it. Like, again, like,
yeah,
like she had like an invulnerability phase. Okay, she's in this ice prism, she's covering his shield. you gotta break those shields. It didn't help the fact that I'm like, yo, I have a gun that eats shields for breakfast, so it doesn't actually matter at this point. I need to get the damage in while her shields are down.
Mm.
I, maybe I'm ahead of it's weird. I'm not ahead of the power curve because I keep running into missions that I'm in theory under leveled for, but
Hmm.
I have definitely reached a point where we'll
Yeah,
talk about this game
I'm.
more in the news. I'm finding it kind of disappointing at this point. Like
Mm.
maybe I don't like Borderlands anymore. Like yeah, like it's one of those ones where the last time I was into a Borderlands game was Borderlands 2. That was pre-Warframe, that was pre-Division, that was pre-Destiny. Like
And that's a few years ago now.
7 years ago at this point. Yeah, like it's one of those
Yeah,
ones where it's
that's a good long time, and mechanics don't necessarily age well.
well, I
And
think they do
we
for
mentioned
certain
that
people.
before.
Like I think it's one of those ones where it's the I'm looking for at this point in my life more of an MMORPG than
Hmm.
Borderlands is equipped to be. Like Borderlands at its truest levels a looter shooter. Like
Yep.
it is Diablo with guns and
Yeah.
nothing more. And it's kind of like, well, is Diablo an MMO? No, it's not. It's a loot driven RPG. Like it has its own
Yeah.
cycle and loop to it and all that jazz. Like it's not an
Hmm.
MMO. Like it has MMO aspects to it. It's got a social hub, but you're not really missing anything necessarily about that game if you're not playing with other people. Like there's no part of Diablo you hypothetically can't do by yourself. Hell, I think I played through
Yeah.
most of Diablo 3 solo.
And this is why I kind of have both high hopes and I'm a little bit worried about the Outer Worlds. Obsidian's new game coming out.
I wouldn't be too worried about that. Like I'm not saying single player games are bad. Like
No. It's more that I hope that they consider that mechanics in general have changed over time. It's been a while, and I mean the story. I mean, it looks like the characters in the story are already very lively, and
Yeah.
I like the look of it. I like the art look of it, which to me actually is kind of important to me in a game.
Yeah,
But yeah, I just wonder about the mechanics. I hope the mechanics also reflect X many years of developments in video games. So,
and I'm not too worried about that one. I guess that game, like
Hmm.
it had a series of problems at year one that they have since fixed. Like we'll kind of talk about this in a second, actually, too, when I start talking about the Steam transition. But like you'd have been dealing with a new WoW situation. I think like it's the side. Like again, like I'm in a spot where I like my loadout right now, but I'm at the end of where that loadout's starting to be viable, and I'm already like, do I want to keep playing after I have to swap out all these guns?
Hmm.
Like I think the game is too stingy with loot. I think the game does not dole out new gear in an effective rate. I know a couple of reviews I've read have said like, man, for a game all about crazy guns, it's real hard to get crazy guns. I don't totally agree with that, but also, yeah, no, there should be more crazy guns in this game. Like for all the weird bullshit you've shown off, the fact that I've basically totally written off two of the manufacturers for the games just because I don't like them anymore should tell you everything there is to know about this franchise. Like I used to love Tidori and not Destiny, Borderlands 2. Tidori, however you pronounce it. The guns you throw because they're literally disposable. But what if they also made SMGs? Like it's a weird conversation because it's like oh, they're different manufacturers. They don't have to make everything. Yeah, I know, but also like there needs to be more weirdness or more something because like I want to know what Vladoff thinks a rocket launcher is. I know like, I'm not going to use this, but like it's good that this exists. I have my answer.
Yeah,
this is some bullshit. Yeah. No, yeah, like I'm still playing it because of inertia, and like, I'm not having a bad time. I'm not like, fuck yeah, Borderlands 3. It's like, yeah, I'm gonna play this. I want to finish it. Like I'm honestly having more fun on the now up and running Steam community page for Destiny 2 than I am with Borderlands 3, and not for good reasons, but because like I talk a lot of shit about Steam and my problem with the Steam community and kind of why I'm like everything like it's like, oh, Epic's bad. No, it's not. It's fine. Well, it doesn't do X, Y, and Z. Yeah, but also like, have you seen what people use it on Steam for? The fact that like pinned to the front page because it's gotten a lot of attention for the Destiny 2 like community page is someone going, didn't like Destiny 1. This game is garbage, having never played it, kind of thing. It's like, yeah, this is right. It just flat out outright lies. Where it's like this game was poorly supported, badly optimized. Like it's only on Steam because of its dwindling community. I'm like, no.
So that's not even a thing.
Yeah.
You just get to, and so I think that'll make people more willing to just write a review that's just like, here's my review of it. It does say how many hours or however much.
No,
how
I'm
much
saying
time
it
you
should
have
be
on
like
record
right
for.
next to your name. Like it's an unavoidable thing. Like it's your gamer tag for that game, and then like those two things should be next to everything you post about that game. Like I can opt into it or something.
Steam,
Or it's in there.
Steam has that. I
Oh,
mean,
yeah,
when
it's in there. I'm just saying, like anytime you post on a game's community thing, it should automatically say the last time you played the game and how long you've played that game for.
Yeah.
It should be like a signature on everything you post.
Oh yeah, not just on the review.
Yeah.
Not necessarily about the game itself, which there again, it's more about, it's on. I'm just looking at Total War, one of the Total War series, but in any case, at least, I do think that maybe rating games. I don't know. I'm kind of divided on that because there again,
we're getting in the weeds some on this one. Yeah, It's meant more to be a fun kind of like bullshit thing I've been up to this week because the only new game I've been playing since last podcast is a mobile game actually from my phone called Mario Kart Tour.
I have heard things about that, but please go on.
You are correct to hear things about that game. It is not good. It is not really fun, and it has some real bullshit microtransactions.
Oh yeah, see that's the part I heard about, but the fact that it's how do you mess up Mario Kart, which should just be fun.
So let's break it down, I guess. So I'm like, maybe I'm not being totally fair. Like I have not played a lot of driving games on mobile because why the fuck would you? So the controlling for this is kind of swipe left, swipe right for controls, and I don't think it feels great. All the Mario Kart things you can do in there, you can boost, you can kind of do that power slide grind thing, you can do extra jumping off the top of jumps. There are items you can pick up. Every race is 2 laps. It is Mario Kart in kind of DNA, but like I don't think the driving feels good. Like there's 2 modes. There's manual drift and then like auto. Maybe I'd like manual drift more. I tried that initially and it felt shitty and hard to control. And like I'm now in normal mode and it's fine but not fun. I win almost every race I do in that game. Like that's not a brag. That's a like I have repeated the same race maybe 2 or 3 times so far, and they're against other people. Like this is not like me versus a bunch of CPUs just beasting on shit. Like it's people are genuinely bad at this game, and I think it's because of the controls and like just any mild level of competency with the game makes you fucking unbeatable. Like I got Toadette for my first character I could play as, and then like on a race by race basis, there's some weirdness where you'll get like bonus XP or something depending on which character you're using. Like I should have had a race where Bowser, who I typically play as just because I like Bowser in Mario Kart, was like, yo, he gets 3 items per thing you pick up. The largest CC motor cart, if you will. You have to pay money, and it's not like just a one-time unlock as a subscription.
All right, that's that. At this point, that should be a crime. Like,
it gets worse.
Okay.
So that game
start out. You build your skills on some of the lower ones, but immediately once you build your skills there, you want to play on the most, the fastest.
Yeah, that's the point of Mario Kart.
Yeah,
I didn't realize how much of a difference the different engine sizes made until I went from the second highest one, because I'm not putting money into this game, to the lowest one just out of curiosity. I'm like, oh god, these races are 3 times longer at low level and just fucking painful.
Comedy of errors.
Yeah, it is heavy with microtransactions. Microtransactions kind of confusing actually. Like it's got a real cool loot box unlock thing you can interact with, but like beyond that, like It's not good. Like I'm not sure. I played it because I'd heard bad things. I'm like, well, I didn't play anything new this week. So let's play fucking Mario Kart Tour for the phone. And I'm like, wow, none of these things I heard that were bad are wrong.
Hmm.
It's all accurate.
I guess I'm kind of not overly surprised, but I think it would have been nice if they just made the steering with tilting the phone.
That's in the game. I have not tried that because I don't like gyro controls. Like I can't imagine.
But for something
good.
like that, it feel. I mean, I'm not saying that it would be, but it seems like that would feel more natural. Like you put your hands on it like a steering wheel and you just turn it. But you'd also be turning the entire screen, so there again, I guess why maybe it doesn't work out as well.
Graphics are good. Yeah. The sound are solid. Like it's sincerely, they're also playing Team Sonic Racing and
Sega.
Oh, I know. Like if the option was like Mario Kart Tour or like Sonic Team Racing, I'd go with the option I'm now considering, which is I bought the new Shadowrun 6th edition rulebook, and I'm like, yeah, not playing Mario Kart Tour is motivating me to understand these arbitrary rules for the system. Awesome.
You picked up Shadowrun edition.
Yeah,
I love Shadowrun.
They did the thing I've always wanted them to do, which is we have the big stupid rule book. We also made like a jump into it basic box, which is great, and for people that have like it's
super cheap. That is really easy.
It comes with the thing I think that should be in the front or like included in every single like full rule book, which is like kind of the crash course idiot's guide to how the fuck these rules work. Like I get it. I need the 10 pages on how these things work for full GMing. But, as a GM, I would love to have, like, the one paragraph blurb also about how this shit works. And it comes with a fantastic little, like, getting started synopsis where it's like, hey, if you want to run 6th edition light, this is all you need to do to get up and running and play a game right now. It comes with the scenario and all the pieces you need and dice and all that shit. And you're like, yeah, you can be playing Shadowrun right now.
Sounds like they finally took some cues from what D&D has been doing with their newer editions.
Yeah,
like making it there's enough depth for anybody who wants to go into that, but also there's an easy way in, and they've made it way more accessible to people who aren't willing to invest in
Starfinder had a great version of this. I've not played it yet, but I've heard good things about Cyberpunk 2020's Red Box, which is essentially this. Week, but we got video game news. Itch sold a shit ton of copies, and we kind of assumed it would, but Randy Pitchford got out there and said, like, I think before the weekend was even over for the first time this thing was out, that like it had already doubled PC sales and shit like that. So
wow,
that boycott EA shit people were pushing, or not EA, Epic, totally worked, guys.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, kind of like the actual news story we have is that Borderlands sold over 5 million copies in 5 days.
That's a lot. Yeah. That's a whole lot.
To put that in perspective, that sold twice as many copies as Borderlands 2.
I mean, that's 1 million a day. I mean, that's a lot. That's hundreds. That's that's a lot per hour. That's selling a lot.
And kind of on top of that, publisher 2K got out there and revealed that a Borderlands 3 broke not Borderlands, not Gearbox's, but 2K's PC launch, a 5-day record.
Whoa!
Across the board, and despite it being on the Epic Games Store, I could not explain
not like
why
a big
it runs so
jump.
hard. Yeah,
I mean, there is definitely like slightly higher poly models, but it's not like a massive jump. We're not looking like at a PS1 to PS2 era jump here.
Yeah, the game looks better, but no, I do not get
like
anime.
I mean, I know this.
It's anime Dark Souls.
Yeah, and I know that's a tired comparison, but you know what? I looked at it, kind of looks interesting.
Yeah,
in any case.
I've heard it described as the chillest of the Dark Souls, which wants us to remind the audience that anime Dark Souls is actually just Vampire Hunter D. Which he's not wrong about, in all honesty.
Yeah.
Maybe anime Bloodborne is actually Vampire Hunter D.
There Didn't know. I didn't own that one.
I had a friend that fucking could not get past this one puzzle segment in Medieval 2 that I managed to beat having never played that goddamn game before. And it was just like, I don't know how to do this. I'm like, get on the hand, put your head on the hand, just do it. I guarantee it will work. Go through the hole in the wall. You can't do that.
That one. Like,
I'm
that
just
would make me
amazed
want to buy
anytime
VR.
like someone remembers Space Channel 5 exists. And they're like, we need to bring this back. And I'm like, you should never stop bringing that back.
I love the
I
title.
don't even like the game, and I enjoy that it exists out there. I like watching people play that game.
It was also like represented a part of the Sega's continuing it was friendship with Michael Jackson because he appears in there. It's him. It's Space
I wonder if he'll
Michael
still be
Jackson.
in the game.
I don't know. I mean, maybe some homage to it, but I mean, as we know, he was He was kind of like very friendly with Sega. For a long time, and Space Michael had his blessing, and that's him. But in any case, I'm looking forward to that because it's wacky and rhythmic, and I think VR is a good fit. To be honest.
Yeah, and last but not least, Civilization 6 is coming to PS4 on November 2nd. 22nd, or not 2nd. I still don't know why you'd play a Civ game on a console, but okay.
The lack of mouse.
Yeah, and kind of like in last little things worth noting for PS4. We don't normally talk about this, but The Last of Us Remastered will be part of the PlayStation Plus lineup for October. So if you're curious about why people are like, OMG, The Last of Us.
Though, on a side note, I will say, as the AI dude, I have literally used Last of Us to teach about AI, and because there's actually a series of books called Game AI Pro, and if you just look up GameAIPro.com, they have their first 2 books available for download for free, split up into separate articles, chapters as PDFs. So and that's from their official site. 3 is you'd have to actually buy the book for 3, but 1 and 2 include stuff from Last of Us. It's even featured on the cover. And so if you want to know a little more about the AI in Last of Us, read it. It's actually pretty fascinating.
It's weird because The Last of Us is a hell of a game from a technical, graphical, environmental standpoint. My beef with it has always been I don't like how the game plays, and I did not connect with the Joel and Ellie story that people are like, oh, it's so well written, and I'm like, sure. Not, but I get why you think that. My heart is dead and feels no emotion. Hurry, things are after you, but nothing is after you. Moving on from that, we have some Miss Pac-Man news, a phrase I never thought I'd say on this podcast. What is there to be said about Miss Pac-Man at this point?
Ms. Pac-Man has a weird history because, alright, so in a nutshell, you had Pac-Man that came out, and then you had some people from MIT, essentially, that basically created a mod. They created their own mod, and that got bought out to become Ms. Pac-Man, essentially. And so, and because it was Atari kind of had Bally Midway, and it was sold around and given around. I mean, it was weird. So if you're interested, you should look into the history of Ms. Pac-Man. It's a weird history to begin with, and that's why it's all over the place. But in any case, to talk about this one in particular, what's going on here, there's a lawsuit. Reasons for doing so are even funnier because essentially it is because At Games makes garbage, and they're kind of angry for At Games doing this thing that's garbage. So, where did At Games get their? Who did they buy theirs from? Or I guess
I can't super tell. Is it wrong that part of me just kind of assumes At Games makes things and then waits to get sued?
They seem to have gotten most of the IP and publishing rights, as far as I can tell at this point. Yeah. But yeah, they said, essentially their main claim is At Games misrepresented themselves as licensed to make products, rather than just to own part of the royalty rights. But, yeah, Yeah, because see, yeah, okay, so it is clear that AtGames did make the agreement with GCC, which is the three people who create the mod.
Yeah.
But that doesn't necessarily give them the right to actually publish a game for it. And so I think in this case, like, actually, Bandai Namco are correct. We're not a copyright lawyer, not a lawyer of any kind. All I can do is read about this. But yeah, because since 1983, like Namco has been trying to snap up all of the assorted rights,
which
for
makes
Ms.
a lot of
Pac-Man.
sense. Like,
Yeah,
you got these weird things floating around out there that complicate any dealings you might do with the game. Yeah.
I mean we're seeing that happen in real time with Spider-Man. So I mean, with the different companies owning different sorts of rights to it. I mean, this isn't the first time we've seen this, but this is an interesting one because Ms. Pac-Man. Yeah, read up on that history if you're interested because it is an interesting history. But in any case, yeah. But yeah, I think it also is interesting to note that, like, looking at what you've created, nope. We're creating Genesis Mini on our own. That was released, and this is the funny part. It's so bad, it got reviewed so hard because the thing is, instead of including the arcade port on it, the arcade version, they included like a port of a console version of Ms. Pac-Man. So, and that's why Bandai Namco is saying, you've literally hurt our business because of your crappy work. So, so that's the other aspect of this lawsuit that's kind of wild.
Yep.
They're suing them because they're crap. many, many months in advance, possibly a year in advance, maybe even longer than that. But in any case, they put in these massive orders, and so by the time it gets around that this is actually not good hardware, it's like, we already bought all this stuff. We gotta use it? But, so I kind of understand how it happens. You know, they can't just...
I know we're not surprised. This is just infinitely harder to fix. Like, as shitty as it is to say it, the way to fix the previous one was go buy more Joy-Cons. Like,
yeah,
that's the problem, but you can replace them, yeah.
But the light, as you may or may not know, the light's an all-in-one system.
Hard plastic.
Yep, so you can't just rip off the sides. I mean, I suppose you
can. It just takes a lot more work, and there's no kind of cool switch sound that happens. It's just cracking and tearing of parts.
Yeah. Let's just say that computer vision is a branch of AI that it's all its own weird difficulty.
And we haven't talked about this much because none of us own it. Like, I guess the Gear VR, or sorry, yeah, the Gear VR. That's what I thought was called, the VR Oculus Gear or something for a sec there. Seems to be other people ain't around so much anymore for very good reasons. Got out there and said that he really wants older VR titles to continue to work, kind of moving forward, which is like beyond the good guy Carmack moment or whatever. It's a smart move because a lot of people didn't get to experience the earlier stuff of VR, and all the stuff will get better as the tech improves.
Yeah. Like, the only thing will be, trying to make sure, or somehow, seeing how many of those older titles will still be compatible with newer technology, but, that's its own conversation. But it is interesting. Like, he doesn't want to just to kind of archive the older VR games so that somebody can go back and see what was the first generation like.
Well, I think it's one of those important things too, where it's important to see where VR's come from, because having a base point of where it started versus where it is now, I think it's important just to kind of...
All I remember about GameWorks is you could get like a $20 all-day free game pass.
But it's in fact Medal of Honor, above and beyond.
Because like
it's
the
what
kids
the
like
kids
that,
who listen
right?
to this podcast, the one kid who listens to this podcast, like, finally some fucking Fortnite news they have to talk about this week. We're on it! So Fortnite's getting skill-based, organized play, and bots.
And now my only reason to play that game is gone.
Yeah,
it came.
None of us know this well because none of us play Fortnite, really. Maybe Alex does at this point. I don't think so, though. I get the impression the skill-based organized play has been something people have been asking for a while. Epic got out there and
Yeah.
was like, we understand that maybe we shouldn't be matchmaking people that are new to the game with people that are really good at the game because then
Yep.
they have less fun. It's like, yeah, no, that's a no-brainer. And
It's been hilarious that it took them this long to figure that one out.
I think it was more they had to hit a point where that started to matter to their player base more. Like
Mm.
I saw lots of cynical things that were clickbaity on this topic where it's like, is Fortnite finally dying? And the answer is, yeah, probably a little bit, but not in the same way that, like, your is Fortnite finally dying implies. Like, every game is dying after it hits its peak.
Now, we covered this initially already,
Yeah.
but there's developments.
It's just beautiful. I
Oh,
don't even know where to start with this. Like, we got criminal investigations, we got, like, jury betting allegation, or jury gaming allegations. Yeah, riggings. That's what I was looking for. Like, this is all
Now-
like real news outlets talking about this shit because it's some real gangster shit too.
like, actually, like, literally gangster stuff,
Yeah.
because organized crime has been linked with with this esports.
All I ever wanted for
Kerfluffle.
esports.
Yeah. Oh, wow. I mean, it's not super surprising. I mean, if there's gambling involved, you gotta imagine that there's going to be some crimes going on,
So,
and that organized
We are
crime
getting
might.
ahead of ourselves. We should probably report on the actual stories before we just kind
Yeah,
of relish in the ridiculousness of it. So,
yeah.
yep.
Like
The
players
arrests are
have been
rolling in
arrested.
on this one. Apparently, the conspiracy is bigger than just one dude.
That's just awesome.
That's some cyberpunk ass like bullshit you have to have. Like, oh, what are you? We're the sports part of the police department. What do you do? Investigate gambling and shit. Huh?
Yep.
We have to have this apparently.
And so this is big news. So the first we mainly were just talking about Counter-Strike, but now we're getting links into Overwatch.
Australian Overwatch.
Yeah, and so organized crime links to the ownership of an Australian-based team that's in the Overwatch Contenders. So Contenders League. So okay.
It's kind of hilarious. Like,
Oh yeah. Holy crap, and it's for esports.
it's what I've always wanted for esports. Like, we've esports have finally arrived. We have our first police investigated scandal about kind of match fixing for gambling reasons. We are finally as legitimate as baseball.
We've hit the mainstream, boys.
Yep. A real news outlet was forced to report on illegal ass shady shit that was happening in a video game.
Maybe
Why do
not
I
as-
say pollution? Because that thing is hot trash.
Yeah. Yeah, it's... as much as I like to see experimentation in media, this just wasn't a great experiment. I mean, I'm not saying that it's just the worst. Deserve an award?
Yeah, so I got a little context. It won the award for Best TV Movie. And on one hand, it's cool a video game won an Emmy. On the other hand, fuck Bandersnatch.
Yeah.
It's not good. Like, the story it tells is not good. Me and my fiance played through, I think it was like an hour and a half, 2 hours of it, and just the entire time this is not great.
Well, it's another classic case of they thought of the mechanics.
Is the exact same interface as Bandersnatch. It's just overall better across the board. It's a better game, it's a better story, it's a better movie. Like, and it does absolutely nothing that thing doesn't do itself already.
Hulu stuff. But anyway,
so
on to the news.
a kind of a little history of who Frogware is. They go back a while. I don't mean like 5,
Yeah.
6. I mean, like, they have like what 13, 14 games under their belt.
Yeah, I mean, they're going back into the early 2000s.
Yeah, they have a
like,
shit ton of games. Shocking numbers of them are kind of B tier Sherlock Holmes games that often, like, going back to the Giant Bomb thing for a second, like, this is the franchise, these are the people that used to give the E3 kind of press conferences that, like, they would lead into it and be like, and the twist for this game is about halfway through, Sherlock Holmes dies, and you have to play as Watson to figure it out. Like, I remember there are stories of journalists out there that made it a point to go to these appointments every year and just kind of cover the comedic effect that was the the Frogware press conference and the game, and And they're fine games. Like, the people that like them seem to be hardcore into them. They're just not, like, 8 million copies sold day one fans.
Mm-hmm.
They've done quite well, and for a long time they've been using publisher Focus Home, who has recently decided to just kind of pull what I can only describe as the dickiest of dick moves when it comes to being a publisher. So Frogware announced that they're kind of pulling away from Focus Home. They're going with a different publisher. Are they self-publishing or just changing publishers?
They're wanting to move to self-publishing.
Yeah.
I think is what's happening, but
which with the rise of digital distribution makes more and more sense for lots of small companies. Like, there's been stuff about how, I guess, Focus wanted to get Frogware to sign a new kind of new contract that says they can't pull their publishing rights, and Frogware's reaction is, we never signed anything like that, and you can't force us to sign a new contract for stuff we already have contracts for, which is true.
Yep. But yeah, essentially the agreement expired, as far as that's what Frogwares are saying.
Yep. That being said, I have an actual question for you three. Obviously, you can't play everything for a whole slew of reasons, but I was wondering if you ever feel comfortable talking about a game in detail, having only watched the stream of the game.
On to you actually having played
I was gonna say that's the thing. Like, I follow lots of games. I obviously don't have time to play everything. I won't talk in the depth I talk about games unless I've played that game. I just don't feel comfortable doing that, because I think everyone should form their own opinion, and my opinions are my own, and why you, in theory, come to this podcast because you like or agree with or find our opinions about stuff.
And
also, we talk about that because all of us have played previous Kojima games, where it's like we kind of know what Kojima's about, but also we have no fucking clue what Death Stranding is. That's half the fun.
Yeah.
So actually, this week's a perfect example of that, because I actually wasn't going to touch Mario Kart Tour until I put it on the news docket, being like, hey, a bunch of people are talking shit about this game, and I'm like, I could just play this. Like, rather than reporting what other people are saying, I could just quickly thumb through this game and be like, okay, are they talking mad shit? And I'm like, no. And then I got into how kind of mad shit that game was, and I played a bunch of it, and I'm like, yeah, this game's not good.
Yeah.
No one is wrong about that. This game is mediocre at best. I'm semi-immune to spoilers, so I fall in a weird category there, but yeah. We will definitely talk about a game we've watched streams of. We talk about games done quick. None of us are speedrunning those games, but still kind of cool to talk about them through that lens.
Yeah.
We talk about trailers for certain games and shit like that, too. It's how the thing goes.
It's also why I end up talking about a lot of weird indie games, or just lesser known, or just not as popular games, because those are the games I've played, actually.
No, and that's part of why Henry is here, actually. At least I thought it was important. We were kind of assembling the second round of the team for this, to have someone that played the less mainstream stuff, because
promptly bought
that game
immediately.
Is great. I am super mad I had to uninstall Dead by Daylight and that to get Borderlands 3 on my machine. I'm like, oh, I can't wait to uninstall Borderlands 3 and put those two back on, because jumping into Death Garden for 1 or 2 matches is a great way to unwind at the end of the day.
Yeah. Fast action.
Just run,
I wish it wouldn't melt my PC, but
it's so good. A Monster Hunter monster is in Final Fantasy XIV, and a boss from Final Fantasy XIV is in Monster Hunter, and also Geralt of Rivia is in Monster Hunter, as is Dante and Mega Man, and
I'm just thinking, My Hello Kitty World also featuring Splatterhouse character.
Yeah.
From Splatterhouse.
That's just weird pairings, though, at that point. There's a way of making that work that's it's a bad idea, but I'd buy that because it's funny. It's Splatterhouse and Hello Kitty, so it's Hello Kitty Splatterhouse? Fucking yeah! Is the Splatterhouse guy wearing a Hello Kitty mask, or is the Hello Kitty wearing the Splatterhouse guy mask?
Well, of course I say that now, but Hello Kitty has had a lot of weird crossovers with a lot of stuff, so actually that would probably be perfectly... So at this point, I guess we're at a case in a time in history where practically anything works with anything. I'm actually having trouble thinking of a weird game that would to have guest characters in, because we've seen some pretty wild characters injected into games we did not expect. Like, I mean, even seeing like Dante show up in a Shin Megami Tensei game, was kind of a thing. You know, that was like, oh, sure.
I'm gonna
why
say
not?
it's any fighting game that has a long kind of history roster that people like. So this is why I said Street Fighter, actually, because there's a bunch of fighters from that franchise's past that I know people would love to see in that game. But the idea of being like, hey, we're having a guest character instead of bringing anyone you actually want back, that's just shitty to fans, and that'd be weird, I think, at that point. Like,
okay.
Tekken's kind of that in my brain, except for the fact that Tekken's like, yeah, we're bringing everyone fucking back. Like, and these characters we're making are cool, and our guest characters are fucking ridiculous. Like, it's Geese Howard or Akuma, and you're like, how?
Yeah, and like, and then, you know, in Soul Calibur, also made by the same, you know, also made by Namco.
Yeah.
Has, you know, I remember, you know, Link, who was pretty OP in that game, actually, you know, and Darth Vader appeared in there. And,
yeah.
You know, and depending on which version you had.
Yeah,
so,
or Yoda. Yeah.
Or Yoda. And so, yeah, it's like, but as far as franchise, I think it'd be weirder to have guest characters in an RPG, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
It'd be, just to have, like I said, if you're playing Final Fantasy and, like, Pac-Man shows up, it's like, sure. And Bayonetta shows up in the maze. It's like,
I don't know, that could be kind of funny.
I mean, but even saying that, I mean, we've seen, like, you know, kind of themed crossover type games with puzzle games.
Yeah.
Like Tetris Attack. But yeah, we are in the age of anything can appear in anything.
Yeah.
I mean, we've reported several times of, like, bands appearing in games, like MMOs, having live concerts. So, I mean, it's kind of wide open.
Yeah. Thank you for writing in, by the way, everyone that wrote in. I apologize for not getting to those sooner. Life and podcasting got in the way, and we all got sick, and that definitely put a damper on our recording schedule. We did not forget your emails. I just want to throw that out there. Like, we were not sitting on them because we thought they were bad. We just had no podcast and a podcast that was a bear to record and we need to end this now for our throats give out.
Thank you so much for that.
You should come back with a kind of winner of that next week, so we'll see. Just being
sorry, not
shit.
sorry.
Yeah, oh no, you're not stopping me from posting weird photos of my dog. It's my hobby at this point, but yeah. That does it for this week. So cue the metal.